Hey guys, this is the Balkan Architect, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create this cool looking exploded architectural diagram. Now, I already have a couple of tutorials on how to create a transformation diagram using Adobe Illustrator, and as well as how to create just a diagram using Revit alone. But in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to combine these two softwares to create this amazing looking exploded architectural diagram. But before I get started, I would just like to ask you to like this video. It helps me out a lot, and if you haven't already, I suggest you subscribe because I make tutorials like this every day. So I'll be using this project for school. This is kind of a jazz center thing that we're doing, and I'm going to set up a few more things right now here in Revit. So first, for this concert hall, I'm going to make it red like this. I think it's good to kind of enhance it by color. So I'm just going to select it, right click, go override graphics and view by element, find here surface patterns. Let's search for maybe this red, maybe a bit lighter, and let's change this pattern to solid fill, go apply. And now it's red and it kind of stands out because this is the most important part of the project. Now, of course, I would like to have these masses, but I would also like to have some floors shown inside. And to do that, you kind of need to create some floors, and you can't do it through mass floors or floors by face, because we can't really divide these surfaces. These are in place families, these are generic families, they're not massing this as well, so we can't really use mass floors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just to level 2 over here, and here you can see this is the mass, and I'm just going to create a floor inside. So I'm going to go here to floor, and I'm going to be using pick lines with an offset of 1 meter like this. So I'm just going to create something that looks like that, and then I'm just going to trim and extend this in place. Yeah, and let's finish it. And if you go into 3D now, we can't really see it. So I'm just going to select these two elements, and these are going to be with these kind of floors inside. And I'm going to right click, override graphics and view by element, and I'm just going to crank up the transparency to, let's say, 40 or maybe even 60. Yeah, and just go apply. Okay, it's kind of too light, so I'm just going to select both of them, go right click, override graphics and view by element, and here you can add some color. So I'm just going to add this kind of a light gray color, and let's add the solid fill, go OK, and you can see it looks kind of better. So I'm just going to select this here floor that I created and just copy it here, copy to clipboard, paste it, align to selected levels, and then just align it all the way up, so it looks kind of like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this, but it's a bit different because it's kind of a warped shape. So again, I'm going to go here to floor, pick lines, offset 1 meter. So I'm just going to go like this around, and here as well, and then you fix everything using trim and extend. Okay, and here I'm just going to add this part for this kind of ramp I have over here. Okay, so that looks right, so just go finish. And then when we're in 3D, we can select it and again go copy the clipboard, paste, align to selected levels, and go levels 3 to 6. Okay, but now as you can see, it's kind of poking through in these parts, so just select one of them, and in 3D you can just go to edit boundary, and you can kind of cut it over here, make sure it's parallel, then you delete the rest of it, and you just trim and extend this to shape. And as you can see now, it fits the building. So you do the same thing here, you just add the line, make sure it's parallel. Yeah, you delete all of this, trim and extend, and do the same thing for this one. Okay, and for this over here, we just need to kind of change this ramp a bit. So just pull it in, and there you go. So now we have these floors, and we have this massing, and now let's kind of isolate everything. So I don't want this whole city in this diagram, I just want my buildings. So when you scroll down, you can copy your 3D view. So I'm just going to go here, duplicate view, and I'm going to name this, let's just rename it new 3D or 3D new. Okay, we can't have these. Okay, so this is our new 3D view, and let's create a section box. So you just go into your properties panel, you find your section box, you turn it on, and it looks kind of like this. Now this is too large, and in order to edit it, you can do it either in 3D, but for this part I like to go to some floor plan, and let's go into site plan. That's perhaps the best plan for this. And if you can't see it, you need to turn off this crop view and then go back into 3D new. You select this bounding box, and then you go back into your site plan, and for some reason we can't see it. Let's try level 1. Yeah, we can see it here. And if you kinda miss it when you click it, you can't select it again, so you need to select it there. Okay, and now let's kinda try to encompass only our block. So I'm going to make this a lot smaller, kind of like that. Now I have to rotate it to have this edge kind of parallel to this street. So you just use rotate, kind of like that. And then let's pull this in here, here as well, kind of like that, over here, and let's pull it in over here. Okay, so once this is completed, you go back into your new 3D, and this is what you get. Okay, so this looks a lot better. Now you want to keep this kind of a sectioned view, but you don't want to see this bounding box. So what I suggest you do, first you set up, make sure that it has some depth and some height to it. And now let's make it disappear. So you just go here to hide elements, and you hit this, or you hit EH, which is the shortcut, and it kind of hid this bounding box. And if you go here to reveal hidden elements, you can see here we have that bounding box. Okay, so now we need to kind of create our extruded diagram, and let's just make this building disappear. We don't need it. We don't need this tree, and we don't need this here floor. So again, just go here, hide elements. Okay, this looks a lot better. So let's start creating our diagram. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out, and to do that I'm going to go here to displace elements, and as you can see we can't really pull it up straight, so I'm just going to go like this. So that looks kinda okay. Okay, so for the next thing I want to pull this thing which will be the Jazz Academy in my project, so I'm going to select it, and now you need to hold the control, and you need to hold the control, and you need to select all of these floors. So you kind of need to go like that. Select all the floors and your massing, and then just go displace elements, and you kind of pull it out like this. It needs to be a bit higher. And I'm going to make this disappear as well. I have missed it. Okay, that looks alright. So now let's displace this thing. So I'm just going to select it, select all of these. Yeah, and let's displace this as well. So you just go displace elements and pull it out a bit. Yeah, that looks alright. So now once this is up, this facade actually has to cover this. So this is kinda too low. So I'm just going to bring it up a bit. And now we can't really see where our building footprint is over here on the ground. And I usually like to have my building footprint. So to do that, I'm just going to go here to manage. I'm going to create a new line style for that. So I'm just going to go here to line styles, new, let's call it footprint. Let's make it large, so let's go with 10, black, and let's do dashed. go apply, okay, then go back into your level 1 and you need to place those lines. So here I have some lines, I'm just going to delete them, and you go to Architecture, Model Lines, or LE is the shortcut, and you find here your new footprint lines. So I'm just going to go like this, and you can already see the lines. It's actually quite a thick line. So here I'm just going to encompass this, which will be kind of a stage up front. So this will go kind of like that all the way here. Make sure you encompass the whole building like that, and let's finish it up. Okay, so once this is done, if you go into your 3D view, you can see it looks like that, and if we go into our new 3D, it looks like that. Now these lines are maybe a bit too thick, but if we change the scale, they'll be quite smaller, so this looks alright. And now we need to change to basically set the angle. So I kind of like this angle, and let's just add some guides to these displaced elements. So I'm just going to add this path over here, here, and notice that if I go over here to add the path to this facade front, it kind of goes down where the actual starting point for this was, and that doesn't look right. So I'm going to edit those later on in Illustrator. But this is it for Revit, so you just kind of choose the angle, then you need to go here into your properties panel and create a crop region, so that looks like this. So just make sure that it encompasses the whole diagram. So I'm going to go like that. Yeah, that looks alright, and let's just change the shadows a bit, they're kind of too dark. And to do that, you just open up this, go graphic display options, find shadows, they're turned on, and you go to lighting, and you just bring this down to, I don't know, like 17. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So you just go OK, and we're finished with the Revit part, so let's just export this to desktop. So go Export, Images and Animation, Image. Make sure that image size is 1500 pixels, that's the maximum Revit allows you. And let's use this JPEG, let's use JPEG Medium, and let's save to desktop. Let's call it Jazz Center. Okay. So once this is completed, we can minimize Revit, and here we have our image. So I'm just going to start Illustrator and create a new file. So I'm going to go File, New. Let's do an A3 landscape. So that's what I'm going to be using. So let's just minimize this and drag the image over. So I'm going to make it bigger, and now you kind of need to scroll out, zoom out, and make this a lot smaller. So you just hold the Shift and Control to scroll to make the image smaller, to size it down. So again, go here, hold Shift and Alt, and you make everything smaller. So it kind of fits like this. Okay, that looks alright. So I'm just going to find this layer over here, and if you don't have this layers panel, just go to Window and find your layers panel and make sure it's checked. And I'm going to kind of lock this layer because I don't want to move it accidentally. So I'm going to create a new layer, and let's just kind of add some line work. So I usually like to encompass these elements with lines, and for that I'm going to be using this pen tool. Make sure that this fill is turned off by using none, and I'm going to set this to, I don't know, something like 3 points. And now you just kind of go around the building adding points like this, and here I like to add this cap and this round end, and this is stroke panel, and if you don't have it, again, find it here on the window. Here it is, stroke, and then you just continue on like this. So you just do the outside boundary line, and the whole thing kind of pops and looks a lot nicer. So wait just a second and you'll see it. And yeah, as you can see here, now this looks a lot better. So I'm just going to do that for the rest of the buildings. Now, this is kind of annoying me, this little part over here, so I want to fix it. So I'm going to lock this new layer, unlock our image layer, and I'm just going to switch this and change the fill to white, and then I'm just going to go around and kind of eliminate this thing. And when we lock this layer and unlock this, you can see it looks like it disappeared. So we kind of masked it. It looks a lot better. So we have this. It looks quite alright now. Everything pops. So let's add some line work for our diagram. Basically, I have cars coming in from here through this street, coming up over here. So I'm just going to use this line tool here and make sure you're on level 2. So I'm going to start from over here, and let's change the fill to none, and let's change the stroke to some color. Let's use blue, and let's use here 2 points, and let's create a dashed line. So you just check here dashed, and 12 points is okay. So I'm going to start off with something like this. Then you just kind of pull it out a bit to create this corner. And let's finish over here. And by choosing this direct select tool, you can actually edit these points and change them a bit, so that looks quite fine. Yeah, and let's add something for the kind of a destination, so I'm just going to choose the ellipse tool here. So you just kind of long press this and you choose which shape you want. So I'm just going to use an ellipse tool. Let's create something that kind of looks like it's in perspective, kind of like this. And you just go here and you switch this to fill, and that looks quite alright. Okay, and let's just add some letters or basically name everything over here. So I'm just going to create simple lines. I'm going to flip this to line work, and let's choose another color. Let's go with, I don't know, light blue. Maybe something like that. And I'm going to create a dashed line that's going to be 20 with basically gap of 6. So you just hold the shift and you use this line segment tool, and you just hold the shift and you create a straight line. And once you've created that, you just select it, you hold the Alt and Shift, and you kind of bring it down and you duplicate it so we can have a couple of those. So I need one here, I need one here, and one here as well. And now we can extend these. So you extend it to there, extend it here. This is for the facade. This is for the building. So that looks alright. Now you need to add some points perhaps. So I'm going to go again here to the ellipse tool, change this to fill, and then just create a circle. And to create a circle from center, you just hold the Shift and Alt in the same time, and you create the circle, and then you can copy it around. So again, just hold the Alt and you copy it. So let's copy it here, here as well, here as well, and let's copy this one up. Okay, so we have that, and let's just add the text. So I'm going to choose a font. I prefer using Century Gothic on pretty much everything I use. So Century Gothic, make sure it's black because text should be black, and let's change it to bold. So let's just call this Jazz. Wait, let me change the language. Jazz Academy. And sorry if I mess up the spelling. So I'm just going to bring this down, again holding Control and Shift to copy everything and to copy it in a straight line. Jazz Hall, and again I'm just going to move it here by holding Shift, and you can use also the arrow keys to kind of move everything. Let's call this Shops. Move it in place. Let's call this Facade. and let's call this hotel. Okay, so once this is finished, I want to add just one more thing that I think it would jazz things up a bit, if you don't mind the pun. And here I have this kind of a stage for outside performances, so people can come in from the inside of this building and kind of watch the performance that's happening over here, and that's here in the floor plan. So I want to kind of make sure that everybody knows what's going on here, that some event is happening, and I'm going to use this ellipse tool for that. So I'm just going to choose this ellipse tool and create kind of an ellipse that looks like it's in perspective, and the color doesn't really matter for now. So let's create an ellipse like that and place it over here. Now I'm going to select it and go here to gradient, and if you don't have that, again, go to window, find gradient, here it is, and then you just click on this over here and you have this gradient. Now I'm going to go here for type and go with radial, and here you can see white is on the inside and black is on the outside. And if you choose this line over here, the gradient tool, you can kind of change this into an ellipse. So you just pull this black thing in and you pull this out a bit. So this is now an ellipse. And now let's change this gradient, so it needs to be red because everything else is red, and you change this to red as well. And then what you do is, for this one, you basically just double click this little arrow, you change the opacity to 0, so it looks kind of like this. Oops, let's undo, yeah. And the gradient looks like that. And then you can go to transparency, maybe bring it down a bit to 50%, and you can see now it just kind of highlights a bit that something is going on here, so people will look up and see that there is an open stage over there. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. This diagram looks really cool and it's real simple to make. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share this video, and if you have any questions, comments or suggestions for future tutorials, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.